Hey, what's up, team? This is Eddie Gray. Welcome to the channel, The Modern Creative, where we help you become a better producer. We're almost at the 3,000 subscriber mark. As soon as we get there, I will be doing something special. Go ahead and subscribe. Give me a like. Let's get right into it. So this is more of a rant, and I want to talk to you about it. I want to research with you. I want to hear your thoughts about LUFS. And in this video, I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can directly affect LUFS, either in the positive or the negative. So for most music producers, this is what their sessions look like. The LUFS, the perceived loudness, is out of control. Check it out. So you might have a target for Spotify, for YouTube, whatever it is you're up to, and you want to make sure you get near that target. Otherwise, there are audio consequences and they'll turn down the music. And so rather than having to go through that whole process, why don't we just put the music in its best light right now? Why don't we just do everything necessary to make sure that when it gets to the streaming platform, that when it gets to the video platform, that it's all ready to go? So the first thing you can do to affect your integrated LUFS is to simply turn down your limiter. I'm using smart limit here, and I'm going to take the gain setting and I'm going to drop it down. Let's go to 0. Okay, so let's see what that does to the loudness. Here we go. All right, so that's number 1. And as a general rule, you never want to be above, or should I say below, -9 short-term LUFS. What's a good number to hit? It really depends on the genre. If you have really aggressive music, then you don't want it to be too quiet, because then it's not going to have that bite, it's not going to have that grit. So this is a very subjective thing. My recommendation is that you start analyzing your favorite songs and see what the musical giants have left behind, and study that and then emulate that. All right, so what if I choose not to follow this? What are the consequences? Well, when you play back your music, either on a low def system, on some cheap speakers, your friend hears it on some cheap buds, all of a sudden you're getting all sorts of artifacts. The song doesn't sound the way it did when you mixed it. You spent all that time really trying to master it and to better the track. All of a sudden, all that just went to waste. So you want to follow the guidelines to some degree to make sure that your song sounds the very best that it can. So number 2, simply lower the volume before the mastering chain. So I usually insert a gain plugin. I usually insert something like this into my chain. This is called Tonelux Tilt. It allows me to filter, but it also allows me to control gain as well, along with some other features. And so you can see my settings are exploding. It's a little too loud, a little too much. So I'm simply just going to back off of the volume. Let's check this out. That was with one plugin. Probably what's going to happen is you'll find yourself weaving in and out of different plugins and gain staging. So now I'll take the SSL Fusion Violet EQ and I'll back off of this just by a minimal 0.5 decibels, and then maybe I'll go into this plugin and then, back down a hair. And let's see what we get now. So it really is a game of juggling and trying to put your song in its best light. And you're capturing all the essence of it, the low end, the high end, the mids. So this is a great way to start. Okay, so number 3, we're going to remove any compression elements. So I want to directly go for anything that is squashing the dynamic range. It's making the song louder, yes, but now I'm compromising. Things are getting a little too harsh. And so we're gonna go into low control by Blacksaw Audio. And I'm gonna take the low end here and just back off of the compression. This should help a lot. Okay, so if we look at my chain right before low control, I have the UAD tilt. And so I'm going to go ahead and apply just a little bit more filtering in the bottom to see if that can help out. Something else that we can do, I've got this mixing sub chain before I go into my final master. And so here I have another compressor in the SSL Fusion. I'm going to take that mix knob, I'm going to back off of it. Maybe I'll take the trim back off of that. I also have a tape plugin here. And something that you can do is back off of any saturation and EQ elements as well. So let me go ahead and take this input and just back off a hair, and this should work wonders for the track as well. So every plugin is affecting the next, and depending on how lucky you are and how you roll these things out, it's gonna have a pretty drastic impression on the song. So at the very tail end, I have a little bit more room to push, and because this is an aggressive song, I want to capitalize on that. So let's see how this sounds. Fantastic. And just to make sure, I want to make sure that I don't get any intersample peaks. So it's either going to be volume, frequency, compression / limiting. So last example, I've got a saturator here, and this should do a lot. If I just remove this, let's see what happens. So to close out here, this is what I would like to sum up. You may hit the level, you may hit your -10 or -14, but don't do it at the expense of the character of the song. See, when I removed this saturator, I lost, to me, what is the soul of a song like this, which is all out, relentless, just power, right? And so I don't necessarily need the volume, but I would like to keep the saturation. So if you do want to keep the character, maybe you can simply just bring down the overall gain of the song. So I've got a plugin at the very top of the chain. Let me insert that, and let's see if I can get this down without necessarily taking away just the character and the overall grit of the song. Here we go. So because this is at the top of the chain, it's having an effect, right? A chain reaction, and it's affecting kind of the overall quality. So I think in this case, because this song is so aggressive, I am going to take the limiter at the very end, and I'm going to, as far as the output level, I'm just going to back off. And I think that will be my my ultimatum, my solution at this point, because I love the drive and I'm not willing to compromise the character of this song. So check this out. So in closing, if you want to keep the aggression of the song, you may want to do this at the final stage of the mastering chain to keep all of that saturation, to keep all of that compression character. But if you want it to be more gentle, perhaps more dynamic, then you should probably do this at the beginning of the chain, and that will help out with the entire mastering process. Again, this is more of a conversation than it is anything else. If you have anything to add to the conversation, please hit me in the comments. Could make for some great education and conversation and rapport. So thank you guys so much. I have a lot more videos like this coming up. I don't think that this is conclusive. Otherwise, I don't think you get somewhere. I think that you discover certain concepts and you start to tie together certain themes in the world of production. And we use these theories in order to help us get to the next destination. So always stay hungry. Never think you get anywhere, regardless of what your successes have been. I'm always going to stay hungry. I'm always going to read. I'm always going to push the boundaries, and I'm always going to connect with you. I'll see you guys later. More to come, more to come. Go ahead and subscribe. 3K, we're coming. Here we go.